So in this video, we're going to look at writing and solving addition and subtraction sentence equations. Specifically, we're going to look at an addition equation in this problem, but subtracting is just kind of the exact opposite. Cabrini had some markers. After she bought 12 more markers, she had 16. How many markers did Cabrini have at the start? So it says to let n represent the number of markers Cabrini had at the start. So you have n. That's some markers. After she bought 12 more, plus 12. She had 16 equals 16. Now, many of you might be like, oh, that has to be 4, so n equals 4. It's great. We can go ahead and write that over here, but let's make sure and kind of explain this process. Eventually, you're going to be getting into algebra that requires larger numbers, many steps, so the math here might seem kind of mental. That's good. Just make sure we understand some of these things. So solve the addition equation. N plus 12 equals 16. So we actually use the subtraction property of equality when we're solving an addition equation. So n plus 12 equals 16. Well, we want n to be by itself. You see how it just goes to n? So how do I get n by itself? Well, if I'm adding 12, I take away 12. And whatever I do over here, I have to do over here. So I do minus 12. So on each side of the equation, I take away 12. So n plus 12 minus 12, 12 minus 12 is 0, and it leaves you with just n left. And 16 minus 12 is 4, so n equals 4. We go back and answer the question that Cabrini had 4 markers to start. And since we subtracted, it says which property of equality is used to solve the equation n plus 12 equals 16. It would be the subtraction. Could one of the other properties of equality also have been used? Explain. From your understanding currently, I would say no. You could argue the case and do n plus 12 and argue that you'd be doing the addition property by adding a negative 12, right? Because 12 plus negative 12 would end up being 0. When you add a number to its opposite, you get 0. And you do 16 plus negative 12. But to me, this is just like a silly thing, because technically, whenever you're adding a negative number, you're really subtracting anyway. And so this is just kind of being silly. It's the only way I can think of in terms of using a different property of equality where you use addition. But for the main one, we're going to use subtraction property of equality.